Happy New Year, as Russell just said in the chat. This is, of course, You Ain't Lying. We are doing a live Q&A, transfer talk, and Festivus for the rest of us. I've got Nate here. I've got Steve here. Fellas, how we doing?
Awesome, except I can't have alcohol.
Why?
It's that Daniel fast we're on until the 24th.
I don't know what that is.
Trying to be good.
Well, if it makes you feel better, like we talked about before, I'm on a diet. I can't have alcohol or carbs.
Or sources.
I love both of them equally, so I am going to be extra cranky tonight, which I know some people like. My wife does not. So I know we want to start off real quick before we do Q&A, before we do transfer talk. We'll get into that here in a moment. I want to talk about kind of the conversation that occurred today on Twitter with Laurel and kind of get, I think everybody here that's currently here knows where we're coming from here. But for those that are going to watch this on YouTube when we do post it, for those that are curious, here's where we're coming from. So while the timeline is not necessarily concerning, it's concerning because of the history of the front office, right? They missed out on main targets last January. They brought in Lacadia at the end of January. Then they brought in, Kuba was mid-January, but then they rushed and got DeJong. We saw Regaton.
Second week of February.
Is that Nate playing music? What is that?
No, it's not me.
Fabrizio is hearing stuff.
Is that my computer? Anyway.
Mine's the first thing to go.
Geez, I lost my train of thought there.
Regaton was
Regaton was brought in
second week of February.
Yeah, second week of February. And it just never clicked, right? So now here we are again. It looks like they're missing out on top targets. And just the same shit over and over again. They have earned no goodwill. So yeah, we should be questioning what in the world they're doing and why there's no signings. I mean, maybe it's not time to panic, but I mean, this is NICAMP's timeline, not anybody else's. So that's kind of where the concern comes in is this is NICAMP's timeline and we don't have anybody yet that they went out and got. And Steve, you want to go ahead? I'm going to try to figure out what in the world this sound is.
Well, and I just got a text about Zoom being locked, so we'll kind of take a look at that here in a short bit. But yeah, to carry on your thought, let me start this way. We've been an MLS club for 32 months, late May of 2018, 32 months. This is basically our third off season going into a real season. We have won 10 games in 57 matches. We have earned 40 points in those 57 matches. We are the worst expansion franchise in history of the MLS statistically by win percentage, points, or however you want to look at it. We've earned back-to-back spoons. To your point, Travis, there's really not a lot of goodwill that's been generated by the front office or trust or confidence. But we had a great town hall, or a great call that both Gerard and Yap came on, what is it, November 9th or somewhere around there, where they put out their own timelines, they put out their own vision, they put out their own desires, and we haven't really seen that. I mean, we know Gerard has backed up from this. He didn't say or didn't mean to say that he had a player and an agent ready to sign, et cetera. But he said that. We all know because we all listened and heard that. What I would say is this, is what MLS and the Players Association is doing right now is immaterial to how we are rebuilding this team. The start of preseason and the start of the 2021 season is immaterial to how we rebuild this roster. Go back a year and just take a look at the transactions and the transfers that were brought into MLS. There were 21 designated players brought in during the winter timeframe, from start of December until May. 16 of those 21 happened right in this shorter window, mid-December to 1 February. And Travis, you can talk more about that because the world, believe it or not, guys, the world's football, the leagues and world football does not rotate around MLS. MLS rotates around the world. And so we are bringing in people from South America, Europe. Most of the South Americans we're looking at, well, if they're playing South America, fine, but they're looking to play in Europe or they already play in Europe. So again, the start times of preseason and the actual season, those are immaterial because we're talking about rebuilding a roster. We are an expansion franchise going into our third year. We're 32 months into this. We don't have a foundation. That's why we talk about, don't go back a year ago and tell us that, okay, we brought in Kubo on January 9th. We brought in Locadia on February 2nd. We brought in Regaton on February 10th. We brought in Sim de Jong on February 20th. Because guess what? We got the wooden spoon. It didn't work, did it? One last thing I'll say, and then I'm going to hand it over to Nate. If I go and I do a lot of requests for proposals in my job, responding to healthcare systems. If I had one big RFP a year and I kept failing at it, I'd go back and look at how I was doing that proposal. I would look at how am I putting my team together? How am I doing it from a timeline perspective? To look back a year ago and say, well, we're okay because that's what we did a year ago. You don't want to compare to a year ago. You don't want to compare to 2 years ago. Because that means we're looking for a third wooden spoon, a three-peat. Nate, over to you. So I'm going to go try to solve the Zoom.
Yeah, my camera's probably gonna cut out again. I don't. It did it last time too. So, Steven, you hit the nail on the head, bud. I mean, let's turn this to the professional aspect, right? Let's take sports out of it. Let's just say, hey, the past 2 years, the company has been the worst in the industry. There goes my video, but I'm gonna keep going.
Keep going.
The worst in the industry for the past 2 years, and you're giving me comparisons and trying to justify things from those years. Like, I don't want to hear that. I'd get kicked out of a damn meeting. I'd get laughed at by a CEO or owner. I said, yeah, but last year we did this. And oh, by the way, last year we sucked. We were terrible. We were the worst in the industry. So, like, I'm with you guys. Like, I don't want to hear that, but we did this last year. Well, to your point, Steven, like, it didn't fucking work. Like, you've made promise after promise, and I'll take some heat for this, but you made promise after promise. Put up or shut up. And if you have a plan in place, cool. But like, say you're working on it. Don't show me that you have a sale on the same jersey I've bought 9 times over the past 6 months. Like, I don't want to see that. Give me something. Our social media presence is annoys me. I'll just say that. Like, they do an okay job, but like the wittiness and the ability to have any kind of humor is few and far between. And I don't know. It's like a tone deaf room with all these issues. And I didn't jump into your guys' Twitter thing today just based upon I didn't have a freaking time at work, but 2, it wasn't worth the argument. Like, we're not media. Us 3, Nick, we're not media. We tried, got told no. We own that. That's fine. Travis was media for 7 hours. Nice job, bud. You posted a SpongeBob gif and you got booted. Sweet. I didn't know that was against the rules. It is anyway. I don't care. But the fact of the matter is, we're fans. We're all fans. That's why you guys are here. That's why you're listening to us. That's why we do this. And as a fan, like, I don't know, give us something. Give us something. We're working on it. Nightcamp doesn't have to do another town hall, which that was awesome when I watched it, but give us something. Hey, we're working on it. Leak a rumor or leak a target. Give us something to nibble on because we eat that shit up. We have as a fan base the entire time. Crap, like this whole podcast and ambiance is arguably based upon that. So it's just, again, exactly, Russell. Y'all is like Arsenal fan TV, man. It's raw, it's real, it's honest, and like if the journalists don't like it, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. Just like any journalist that has an opinion, you're entitled to it. But I don't want to hear we signed players that didn't work last year in February. Like, give me something. That's my only ask. If that's too much after 2 wooden spoons and multiple embarrassments and literally thousands of my hard-earned money spent and thousands more in the future, then maybe I'm crazy. But I don't know. I don't think I am.
I don't think you are either. And I'll interrupt real quick. Steven, do you see a security thing at the bottom of your screen?
Okay, there we go. I must have hit that by mistake.
There you go. No worries. So now you should be unlocked. Everybody should get in. So I know myself and Steven, and I think Nate even looked at this. We'll move on to Q&A here in a second. The reason,
let's let some of these other folks get in here and catch up here too. So keep
true,
going. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Mitch is in here. Let me just send a quick to Darcy and Brian. 1 second. Perfect. So we did some looking. There was like no European movement within the league after February 1st. You had like a couple people sign, like Pizarro went to LA Galaxy, Jimenez went to the Chicago Fire. All of that stuff happened in February from South America. Like South America is a little bit more lenient on when they'll sell players. But these European clubs, especially these big ones, we're trying to pick off this talent from these bigger clubs. When January 31st hits and it's over, they've locked their roster. That's it. I mean, they might loan you a player or two, but who they're loaning you are not impactful, game-changing type players.
And who's available is the Regatins, who aren't signed, right?
The trialist.
The trialists, right.
Franco, who, is currently going to be a preseason trialist, he may end up staying if you can't find anybody, which is not, that's not ideal, right? Like he played one match, he looked okay. There's a reason why the guy's worth like 80 grand. There's a reason why
Hoff 2 is in the 4th division of Germany.
Correct. And he wasn't even playing there. So it's not like he was getting, 20 goals in 25 matches, starting in the 11 every single time. It's not like he was that guy. They have a lot of work to do. We're basing this again, and this is the last thing I'll say about this. We'll move on to Q&A. We're basing all of this off of Gerard Nijkamp and Jaap Stam's timeline. This is not something that we've made up. This is why I kind of dug in with Laurel a little bit today. And me and Laurel are friends. Like we go at it on Twitter, and there's my big moose in the background. We go back and forth on Twitter, but we're friends, right? Like it's not something nasty or whatever, but it's not like we're cussing at each other. But we dug our heels in because this is what we were told. He came out, I believe it was in late November, mid-November, and said, like, I want 85% of this roster set by the time preseason camp rolls around. Well, the original preseason camp is like 10 days away. They don't have any. They got Matarrita. Like that. Don't get me wrong. That's a great move for the price. Could argue it's not, especially when Villafania went to the Galaxy for much less, and he's not that much lesser of a player. But they don't. Here's my thing, and this is the last thing I promise the last thing I'll say about it. I know I say that a lot.
I got one more thing to add after you though. So go ahead.
Okay, Steven, do we have any faith that because we've seen only really South Americans move in February, right? I just gave you a couple examples. You guys can go look at the transactions last year. There's no Europeans moving on a permanent basis to MLS in February. It's just not happening. Or European club-based players. Are we confident that Gerard Nijkamp, if he does get into February with no players, given the history of European clubs not selling to MLS in February, we think he's going to get 3 or 4 starters in South America? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to go down there and get 3 or 4 starters. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, this is absolutely the point where he's got to do something in the next 2.5 weeks. If he does not, we are looking at a third wooden spoon, and he will not have his job in the summertime. Steven?
Absolutely agree. And to your point, just going back, doing the research today, out of 30 signings in middle of December until the end of January last year, 25 of those signings came from Europe. 16 of those were designated player signings. Again, to Fabrizio Grimes' point, the players that came in February from Europe they were either loanees that clubs are trying to decant and get away from, or they're the Regatin perspective. They weren't the big players. Anyone that came in after the February European date window had closed were South American based players. Nijkamp is the one on November 9th, that said, we are looking for 3 to 4 new starters. Okay, Matarrita's one. So we'll give you, that's a starter. We're still looking for at least 3 more starters. If we don't sign 1 or 2 guys from Europe in the next 2.5 weeks, then we can get into, what are we going to be looking at from a roster perspective?
I'll
Nate,
say one thing. That we
yeah,
can move on.
last word, and then we'll move on, Nate.
Yeah. The thing is, and Laurel hit on this, but the thing with European teams in the European window, clubs don't move talented players if they don't have the ability to replace them. Like there's unless they desperately need money, which some leagues do. France is screwed right now. France is hurting, and not that MLS isn't, but from that standpoint, you're not going to move a top tier player if you don't have somebody behind him to step up, especially if there's limited time in the window. It's just kind of the way that has always worked. So I don't know. Again, I just wish for us, for fan base, it feels like false promises. It feels like since 2018, it's been false promises. After MLS, it's arguably been disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, and we're still here. We're still supporting the team. We're still buying season tickets, still buying gear, but I don't know. I'll liken it to my Bengals fandom. I was a Bengals season ticket holder for years. In high school, I paid for seats. Literally, I worked a job, and all my money went to my Bengals season tickets. I bought the seat license at Paul Brown. After long enough spending my own money, I was like, this is stupid. Every time I go to a game, I have fun, but I'm in a bad mood. And I'm not going to spend hundreds of dollars to go watch a garbage product. I might do it once or twice a year, but I'm going to scalp tickets, and I'm not going to spend the money. We're not there yet, but it feels kind of similar. Like, hey, we're going to get better. We're going to get better. We're going to get better. We're going to make signings, big time DP. We've, like, in our 2 years, we've missed on every DP. Like, every DP we've missed. And now Licati may fix that. Kubo may fix that. Cruz, we have our own opinions there. I like Allen, but, somebody else does it within the club. Might be the head coach. I don't know. So it's, I don't know. Like, give me something, guys. Like, give me the USL days. I don't want to go back to USL, but like,
No.
I absolutely don't want to go back to USL, but like, give me something to sink my teeth in. Give me that atmosphere back, and it's going to be tough with COVID, right? That's the piece we can't control. But like we say, all these teams are dealing with it. Well, guess what? The team 90 minutes north dealt with it last year and won a title. So we're not the only ones dealing with it. So it clearly can be done. Minnesota did it, and they sucked and they got better.
And my buddy Chris is on from Minneapolis right now. So put your thumbs up, Chris. The Loons played well.
MLS is built on parity, and somehow we found a way around that. We've avoided the parity, and we found the bottom one. So it's tough, man. It's right, Adam. Like they just signed BWP, and they just signed somebody else too, didn't they?
They signed Kevin Molino.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know where they're getting all the allocation money from.
Well, they signed him for $635,000.
It's just crazy, like
because Molino picked them.
They're gonna win it again.
It's like college. It's like college football. Maybe there's some money slid under the table. Who knows? But point being, like again, like the team 90 minutes up north signed one of the greatest goal scorers in MLS history. Now, BWP's an old man. He and I are probably the same age. But yeah, you had Kevin Molino, who's he's oft injured, but when he's on, he's a difference maker.
He's a DP level talent.
Yeah, and he's not a DP for him. He's a TAM player.
Nope, and they're talking about buying players down and getting more DPs. So
I got Travis. I'm sorry, I got one more thing on this because I'm going to use now because the dates and the time frames for preseason and the season really they are immaterial. But I'm gonna use this. Say preseason starts March 1. And the season starts mid-April because the CBA says 6 weeks for preseason before the start of season. Who are you going to get here by March 1?
You got to sign them by February 1.
At least,
I don't think
at least it's a 3-6 week process to get visas and get people over here, go through protocol. I mean, even if we don't start preseason until March 1, we're already behind the curve.
And then the nice thing about going after Europeans or European club guys is they're going to be in shape. They'll be match fit. They'll have to get integrated in the club. Sitting out 2 weeks, they'll have to get a little bit of fitness left, right? But you get them in here March, let's say they get here March 10th. You've been in preseason for 9 days. Your season starts in 2 weeks. They're not playing the first couple of matches. You get off to a bad start. Dressing room hits the fan again. Goes downhill pretty quick. So let's get to some questions here. We'll scroll up. Let's take I'll take one real quick. I saw earlier. I can't find it. The club backed out on Lincoln. Um, they kept increasing their salary offer. Apparently, it just didn't make the kid happy. Like, he wanted to be in Japan. He and his agent think the J League is a step up from MLS. I talked to the Fabrizio of Brazil. Essentially, actually, he wrote me, which was kind of cool. And he essentially echoed what I had been hearing, and that is that he just didn't want to be here. And the agent and Lincoln thought that they could play in a league better than MLS, which they were already in. And they believe that the J League is just better than MLS. So kind of is what it is there. I'll take one more, and then I'm going to give one to Steven. For Travis, the front office recruiting reminds me of Chris Mack's last year. Fuck Chris Mack. At Xavier, fuck Xavier. Lots of big swings and misses. Yeah, I think this is not a direct like analogy, right? Like, Chris Mack is a big enough name in college basketball. He should have been able to recruit 5-star kids at Xavier, right? He had built up kind of that resume. Yup, Stam is the same thing, right? He's got the playing resume more than Chris Mack does, obviously, but not as much the coaching resume. But he has that name that should, like Brian Dunseth said on our show, he's got that Rolodex. He should have that Rolodex to get guys in here, and it's just not working right now. If it were, we wouldn't be here on January 14th talking about how we haven't signed anybody yet. So yeah, a lot of big swings, a lot of misses. One's not necessarily a miss yet. We'll get to that one. But yeah, it's absolutely concerning. And it's absolutely, I mean, you can draw an analogy to Chris Mack. I think that's why Chris Mack left, to go to Louisville. Got tired of swinging and missing on 5-star guys, and okay, well, let's use Louisville's money, because I mean, they pay kids, and let's use the Yum Center and the campus, and let's get some 5-stars in here. So, all right, Steven, would we realistically be capable of signing or loaning some of the U23 players from EPL, guys that mainly would look to go on a loan to develop?
Yeah, I think that's from Russ. Great question. I would think more about English Football League than EPL. We're really not going to get U23 guys from EPL. They've been built up. They're from academy systems all over Europe. They've been promised the world. I don't see us getting U23 guys from EPL. Now, the Football League, next division down, I can see that potentially, but not really from the EPL. I guess I'm going to flip it back over to the relationship and that the club, has inked with Hoffenheim, Prosthoff. We like you guys over in Germany. I was hoping really that's where we would see some of the transfer of the U23 product. And how old is Franco? He's over 23, isn't he? Kovacevic?
He's
a youth. He's a U22, I think.
Oh, is he? Okay. Okay, I'll give them credit. They did send us Franco, but okay. One guy who's back in Croatia, he's still in Croatia, by the way. My friends ran into him recently, so he's not back in the States. Okay. But I would have thought or hoped that Hoff would have been sending us some more U23 guys for trial periods or keep them active, whatever it may be. And maybe we'll see that this season. Maybe we'll be able to see that. But I don't see it coming from the Premiership.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I agree. I mean, U23 guys, like you said, from the Premiership, I mean, look at Phil Foden. You're not getting that guy.
No.
He's playing with his hair on fire.
He's the greatest player Pep has ever coached. That's per Pep. That's not that Pep said that. Pep said he is the most technical player he has ever coached.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking?
Right, Pep was high.
Those are facts. I'm not making that up.
So Nate, I'll throw this one at you. What would make you content? Maybe not thrilled at this point, but content with the offseason? That's from Alex.
The Matarita move was nice, Steven. That Galaxy's move just to get Fania, like, just shows that we overpaid, which sucks because you got proven right like a week and a half later. To be content right now, I just need something of value, something of substance. It doesn't have to be a DP. It just has to be a valuable piece to the roster, whether it be a center back or something else to fill that void. That's really my only ask. I don't know. I can't misspoke. That's fine. I'll give him that. He said he had a player signed or whatever, like on the way. Like, I watched it a couple times. Like he kind of verbatim said it. Maybe he did and something fell through. That happens. Okay, cool. Want to have the roster essentially set by this time. I think he said, right? Was it like mid-January? Was it mid-February? But either way,
It's by preseason, which would have been in 2 weeks. So yeah,
which again, like, okay, we don't know when preseason is. I get that. But guess what? The transfer window doesn't change. Whether preseason starts now, March, April, May, June, the transfer window isn't going to change in Europe. So to really be content, I just need progression. Matarita is progression. It fills a void. It fills a need. He's the best left back we've ever had in the 2 years of existence. Like there's still so many gaps, and with the team that scored the lowest, how many goals did we score last year, Stephen? 13?
3.
12 was
Okay.
it? I think 12 because one was a own goal.
Okay. How many games did we play?
23.
So you're half a goal a game. It's tough to win when you score half a goal.
Half a goal.
Real tough. So defensively we're better, but like I don't want to rely. Barrial showed tons of upside. Licadio, I think, will again right the ship. Kubo will be better. Like those guys will correct. Like they're more talented than what they showed last year, but you're still missing a piece. Vasquez played his ass off. I'm glad he's back. Big fan of Brandon. So I don't know, man. Like you still need a 10. We keep going back to Zelarayan, but I mean Pizarro, like he's a 10. Like he was, he made Miami at least decent going forward. So I don't know. Like I don't necessarily need a 10 right now, Travis, from a long-winded answer, but what I need is something in the right direction. We have multiple positions to fill, starters to fill that we are nowhere near filling. And offline, we've all talked that it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Oh, okay. I'm a big believe it when I see it guy.
Yep.
I just want to see it. That's it. Simple.
Yep. All right, let me pick one here. All right. MWCFC fan. Where do you think we look for a second left back? Busy international calendar this year. Matarita is probably going to miss at least a handful of games. For a backup position like that, they have to look in league. I don't think you're going to go find a backup left back that's not going to take up an international spot somewhere. That may, and I know Russell asked about this. I don't know that Bartlow's opting out of the draft. He just hasn't signed a GA a contract yet. If anybody doesn't know that rule, an underclassman cannot come in the draft unless he's a GA player. Apparently, he's negotiating with GA, so we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to move that number 2 pick for a backup left back or maybe a starting right back, something like that. But you're going to have to go find one in MLS. Zico Bailey is not ready to take. I mean, he was okay, but he's not ready to get a significant amount of games for a club that's trying to be competitive. And like you said, you're right. Matarita is going to be out some because of the Costa Rican games. Nate, because of the Costa Rican games. And you're going to need a solid left back, especially a solid left wing back. Oh, don't do that.
Smooch and smooch.
But yeah, I could see them. I mean, if you don't trade for a backup left back, they could use that pick for you're not going to get like a Molino type, right? You're going to get someone like a Will Trapp almost. That might be a good shout for like a high draft pick trade. Those draft picks are not worth a lot. Now, this year, there's 2 or 3 guys that are maybe more highly touted than in previous years. What is it, Budu or Buddha? And then you got
Buddha, but he's not in. Buda's not coming. He's not in the draft.
Is he out of the draft? Okay.
Yeah,
You've got the Harris kid.
Yep, Harris is good. Yep.
Harris is good. If Bartlow gets a GA contract, he's a good 2-way player. Euland's a good player. So all those guys. Let me get to the next one here. Yes, Adam will get to the 3 targets. Same person, 5-3-2 or 4-3-3 with this roster stands today. 3-5-2, probably, right? 3-back system. Pedersen, Vanderwerf, Hagland. Probably got Matarita and Zhao as wing backs. You've got Makocho with probably Amaya and Medina in front of him. And then you've got Kubo and Licadio up top. That's not good, guys. Let's see here. I think we know that. PJ asked about if we only got one more average starting level player, what position would you pick? It'd be the 10. If we got no one else, we need a 10.
Please don't buy into this, any discussion you hear or things you read about that we can go 2-8s and
Yeah,
be
don't
like
even do
a
it.
European team. We've
Listen,
done that. We've
I'm
tried.
not.
Hold
I
up.
want to rant for a second
I want to
because
get on that too. I can't ignore that.
yeah, like I told you guys all last offseason, right? Like I sat here on You Ain't Lying. I went to fight on Facebook and Twitter. This club needs a fucking 10. And everybody's like, nope, they can do dual 8s and double pivots and it'll be just fine. It wasn't just fine.
Dual
They
8s,
tried-
have your wingers can be creative. You can do this. You can do
You can tuck them
Liverpool does
in.
that. Yeah.
You can tuck them in with wing backs and then make your wing backs actually play wing. Like no one actually does that anymore. Like no one plays that anymore. Counterattacks and opposing wingers are too fast now to do that. Could you imagine if, like, let's just say PSG is playing Barcelona in a Champions League game and Barcelona tries that and they turn it over and then, oh, look, Mbappe's on the right wing. Could you imagine trying to defend that? That's what essentially what FC Cincinnati was trying to do all last year. They get the wing backs up, they tuck the wingers in, they turn the ball over, and then you got 2 center backs against 4 attackers. It's what Columbus did to us. No.
I'm gonna go.
Nate,
Go. You go.
Nate,
I'm gonna go. So yeah, we did that last year, right? Frankie might get there, but Frankie's not. His distribution's good, but not offensively good. How many assists did he have last year? Did he have one?
What are
0.
assists?
Okay. How many assists did Cruz have last year? I'm just curious.
I think
Negative
0.
4.
So you reference, I'm not throwing shade at somebody, but you reference 2 players that we had on the roster last year. We could do 2 8s. And combined, they got 1 goal and this many assists. Sounds like a plan. Sign me up.
We could always just play Kubo out of position again and put him at the 8.
Licati could probably play the 10. Let's roll. Let's go.
Right. Just, you know what? We'll test everybody's knowledge of what an actual false 9 is. Because, like, not taking shots at anybody. Until you know what an actual false fucking 9 is, don't try to preach to me about a false 9 and a 10. Like,
Firmino is probably your best.
I just confirmed. I just want to make sure we had 6 assists last year, guys. 6,
like I said,
6.
what are assists?
2 from Regaton. Okay, he's in. Where is he? Turkey. Where'd he go? Turkey.
He's back home in Turkey.
He was
2
homesick, so he moved
Actually,
to Turkey.
Vasquez was our most prolific player. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. Garza, he's no longer here, had an assist, and Harris had an assist.
All right, I have another question. This one's for Steven. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That's from Aaron, I believe.
I love how you like. It's always that's a great question.
No, is it an African sparrow or is it a European sparrow?
We're gonna get into that whole. I love that movie so much.
If it's a European, it's a flesh wound. If it's a European sparrow, it would have already been over here.
Oh God! All right.
Long flight across the Atlantic.
Russell, how long is? I'll speak to this, and I'll let maybe Nate take birding. How long is Nykamp's leash? Short. I mean, he's got this window. He was open. Here's where Nykamp screwed himself. There's my horse. He gave a timeline. He told us how many starters he wanted to sign. He told us how much money he had to spend.
25 million.
25 million euros, $30 million. And he is swearing up and down. He swore up and down to that interviewer that was just transfer fees. So you're shooting yourself in the foot. If you don't do anything this window, I don't know how he survives till summer, especially in soccer. Soccer is so much different than any other sport in the world, especially in Europe. If you're comparing it to Europe, I mean, Pochettino just got fired from Tottenham. He was Tottenham's best manager
He
ever.
left.
Yeah,
Tottenham. Fulham just drew them. Like
he just won his first trophy at PSG already.
In the first week.
Yeah. But yeah, I think his leash is very short. Birding's leash. What do you think, Nate?
that's tough, man. Like that whole thing, we could have an hour-long discussion on the upstream, downstream impact of the expansion year, things now, player discussions that we've had and some of the nonsense that happens behind closed doors. I don't want to get into that. From a leash standpoint, like Jeff owns 10% of the club, from what I understand, what I remember. So he's not going anywhere. He ain't selling that. Like that's valued. If the club's valued at 50 million, that's or 500 million. That's 50 million he has. Like he's not giving that up unless somebody pays him 50 million for it. Then he might bounce. But this is his bread and butter. This is his baby to an extent, and I respect that from a Jeff standpoint, right? I respect that he did build something, that he's continuing to build something, that West End looks great, that there's pieces there that without Jeff, we don't have. Without Jeff, we're probably not in MLS, and if we are, it's not this quickly. So I respect that. The other side of it is, I don't know, man, like maybe, I want to say it professionally, but maybe know your range, know your scope. So from a leash standpoint, Jeff's very good, clearly very good at the off the field stuff. He's good at the political stuff. He's always been a little bit of a politician, and that's not a knock. That's just an honest truth. So from the standpoint of his leash, that's tough, man. You're trying to ask somebody that's extreme A type, somebody that's very dominant in every room that they're in to step down when they have an ownership stake in the club, when they've actually accomplished some stuff. They've had massive failures on the other side, but it's not that everything he's done has failed. I don't know.
Well, and Uncle Carl's extremely loyal to Jeff.
You said it, man. Carl, and I respect him for it, man. The Lindner family takes care of their own. They're very loyal, and I would rather have that ownership than the cutthroat. I'll use Stan Kroenke, for example, for Arsenal. Like, I'd rather have a Lindner than a Kroenke, even though Kroenke's got the deeper bank account and he owns the Rams, he owns Arsenal. Like, I'd rather have Lindner. I'd rather have the guy that's loyal, that's going to protect his own, but his own also need to right the ship, learn from their mistakes, and not repeat their mistakes. And that would be my one thing. So from a leash standpoint, something would have to come out or something would have to happen that just you can't get past, i.e. Ron Jans. But that's not going to happen. So his leash is as long as he wants because he owns 10% of the club. I mean, that's the honest answer. Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know.
I think you kind of hit it on the nail on the head. Lindner's loyal to a fault almost.
Yeah.
He almost has too much belief in the guys around him. Everybody knows my personal feelings on Birding. I've made that abundantly clear. I think I kind of shot ourselves in the foot when it came to media access because of it. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Fuck. Yep. Oh, he can. You know what? Today's not the day to ask me about Birding. Okay, because I listen.
How's that diet, T? How's that diet?
But I'm trying to hold back some stuff I was told I wasn't allowed to say ever, so I'm not gonna say. I mean, you guys know.
Don't say it on video. At least say it like where we can delete it later.
Yeah.
Deal.
Good.
Yeah, I don't hate St. X guys, Adam. St. X is the only Catholic school in the area that I respect because they're the only ones that don't run from contracts with Coleraine. That's it. Say what, PJ? What do you want me to say? Fuck Birding. Okay.
We got so far.
Yeah, well, he can go fuck himself. I don't care if he likes me or not. Really don't care. Doesn't bother me one bit because feelings mutual, buddy. Okay, so let's get to some transfer targets. So let me do some screen share here.
You should be able to. Hopefully I get that off security. You able to? There you go.
All right. I ruined that one, didn't I? All right, Pablo Martinez.
Juan Pablo.
And he's French. He's the French Pablo.
Oui. And look at his agent, Vosterman. So like I posted on Patreon a couple days ago, the club is in negotiations with Pablo. I don't know how close it is. One source told me it was close. I don't know. Local sources have not told me if it's close or not. Usually that's when I will post like, hey, it's done. He's going to sign, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, he's a good player.
Ladies will be happy. He's a good looking dude. Look at him. Good
yeah, my wife will be happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look like him, but I just don't have the hair. He hasn't played much this year for them. They're trying to some younger players there. His market value is pretty high according to Transfer Market, like the second highest in his career. He is 31. He's a left-footed center back. He likes to play left center back, which is odd that they're going to go after him because, well, they have a left center back at Pedersen, which makes you think, are they going to go 3-5-2, put all three of those guys back there with Pedersen? Martinez and maybe Vanderwerf or Haglund.
He,
Again,
he hasn't played for a while, right? Is that right?
yeah, I think he was hurt. We'll go into the detailed performance here and it'll give you kind of match by match. I think he was previously hurt.
Yeah, not in squad. Look at that.
Yeah, not in squad, on the bench. He's gonna move, right? Like this is a guy that all the French media have said he's going to MLS. The guys that I've talked to have said he's coming to MLS. FC Cincinnati was mentioned. Montreal was mentioned. There was one. Vancouver was mentioned. So
The
two Canadian,
snowflakes. The snowflakes were mentioned.
the two Canadian
Ooh,
clubs and
that's right.
us. Montreal makes a lot of sense because of Thierry Henry.
And he's French.
But I was told that FC Cincinnati has made the most progress with him. He's a good ad. Be our best center back immediately. He's got decent pace. He's pacier than the current center backs we have. He's good with the ball at his feet. He fits the system. Think almost Tyler Blackett like at left center back, maybe a little bit more physical. But he's kind of got that. He's got that passing ability, right? Like he can play out of the back like they would like for him to play out of the back.
So T, if he came in, you would see him to the left of Pedersen in the middle, and then at this point right now, Hagelin or Vanderwerf on the right until we get somebody else.
I'd
right?
probably say Vanderwerf on the right. It's like being pot committed in poker. They've got so much money into Vanderwerf right now. You have to play him. I mean, if you don't play him, why is he here? Same thing with Alan Cruz. We have been told by multiple people that, Jaap Stam could care less if he's on the squad. They need to move Alan Cruz. Nate, any opinions?
It's just that, man. I don't like a player that's significantly out of form, or at least hasn't played with the squad. Not that Nimes is a bad squad or whatnot, but they're not a powerhouse in League One in France. So from that standpoint, yeah, sure. But value-wise, right? If you're going off transfer market and value, he'd arguably, like you said, be our best center back immediately. The skill set's there. He's got a long tenured career. It's not like he's 22 trying to prove himself. So, sure, right? He's kind of those players that we don't know. We don't know till we see it. Kind of like Vanderwerf, man. It's just a big sure. But tying it all back to what I said earlier, it's a fresh face and it's a move in our direction. We're going forward rather than backward. So from that standpoint, yeah, I would think he'd be a TAM player, especially with the way League One is right now with their TV contract deal blowing up and teams in trouble. You may even get him on a free transfer just to unload his contract, and then he's a TAM center back and gold. Sign me up. I'm all for that. Worst case, he's a phenomenal depth piece. Worst case. And we need another center back. Good old Kendall ain't here anymore. So
thank God. But look at him. He was been in the squad in 2018-19. He was in the squad 33 times, started 11, played all 90 minutes each time except for 2. Then you got 2019-2020. Mind you, this is League One. League 26 squad, 26 starting 11. He was suspended once. He played 90 minutes in literally every game. He was never subbed off. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, as you can see. 4 yellow cards. The one game against Nice, he did pick up a second yellow. But up until this year, this guy played every match. He was never hurt. He's been quality clearly, or else they would move on from him. But yeah, so we'll move on to.
Well, real quick, Mitch had a good point here. Yes, he would take another international spot. You're correct, yes. Mitch. But we've got one that we just traded with Nashville for a couple of weeks ago in our 1 week of fame, where we had all that movement. Mm-hmm. At some point, we have to believe that Vanderwerf and even Loon are going to have their green cards. So
Teton,
yeah, TT's supposedly has it. Who knows? But he would take an international roster spot. That's correct.
Yeah, and then oh God, Russell, don't bring up Duplan, please. He's so much better than Duplan is.
Let's still stop being so damn smart, bud.
Yeah. I want to answer Mitch's question here. Another international roster spot, does that limit us on our search for a 10? No. Their funds are pretty much unlimited MLS wise for a 10. You've got 3 green cards in process that are close. You can always send Franco back. I mean, we could have up to 4 free international spots. So that's not really a concern. I mean, MLS is lenient on that stuff. If they think you're close enough to a green card, they'll green light you to sign a guy like they did with Barrial. Barrial really shouldn't be here right now. We were over 1 international spot, but MLS was comfortable enough with our green card situation to where they allowed him to sign.
Maybe they felt sorry for us. No, I wouldn't.
Wish they'd feel more sorry and give us Columbus Crew allocation.
They don't feel sorry for us
Why
after
would you?
talking to Dunny and after talking to
They
a
don't
few
care.
other guys with MLS.
Yeah.
He
No,
absolutely does not feel sorry for us.
we're
Don-
the least liked front office in MLS, guys.
And
It's
Don
just-
Don doesn't
a
like
fair
us either.
statement.
yeah.
Okay, so this one's kind of the newest one. Jonathan Cohen, he plays in the Israeli first tier. He's got like what's right there, 7 caps for the Israeli. What? Am I froze?
No, we're good.
Oh, you're good. You froze. Might be my internet. I don't know.
Damn East Side internet. You fucker.
Orange for life.
Israeli national team has 7 caps. I mean, there's some good output, right? 15 appearances. He's essentially got a goal involvement in each one, almost 8 goals, 5 assists. He's more of a 9, but there's that versatility. He can also play both wings.
He's got Polish citizenship too. Holy cow.
Yep. He's
Krav Maga guy, I bet. Yeah.
Now we are not by any means the only MLS team after him. Apparently NYCFC is hot on his trail. So is Portland. So is Toronto. So is Inter Miami.
So what could go wrong for us? Yeah, nothing.
I mean, look at the versatility there, right? Like he's played all 3 positions for an extended period of time this year. He's played the false 9 or second striker role
and produced
in each spot. He scored a goal in each position he's played. Hell, he even came off the bench and scored. I don't know much about him. You know, I haven't had a chance to really watch tape on him, watch highlights. I don't know what his game is like. Clearly the dude can finish. He's kind of a newer guy on the scene. I don't think he's really been great in the past. I know like his value jumped up from like 400K to like what 2.5 million euros, 2.8 million euros right now. He and Pablo are both guys that like in the current climate, you're going to get him on a discount, especially if those clubs are struggling. Pablo, you can probably get him for $1 million. That's how bad the French league is struggling.
If that, man.
Yeah, Cohen, it might take you $1.5 million, $2 million to get him. He would be a TAM player most likely. But I mean, hell, even going back to last year, he wasn't in every match. I mean, they play more in 23, but he started 23 matches. He played 90 minutes the majority of the time, 10 goals, 10 assists. So the guy puts up numbers. You can question the Israeli first tier and the competition there and all that. But, you know, if it is a lesser league than MLS, it's not much. And we've signed guys from better leagues that didn't perform here, right? Like they're eventually going to take a chance on a guy. And Cohen seems like that kind of guy. I don't know how far the negotiations are. I don't know where they are. I do know FC Cincinnati is one of the clubs involved with him. Apparently, they got a kind of a late jump. I think NYCFC and Portland are seen as the 2 favorites for him. But Portland's in a weird spot. Portland's been linked with like every player. They're linked with Falco right now. That's not a Portland move. But what do you got?
Question,
Yeah,
Travis.
Go ahead.
Link on now, Cohen. There's these kind of 9 second striker versatility in the wing. Are these to pair with Loca on the wing, or are these to replace Loca?
My gut says it's to put Loca on the wing and these guys the 9 and see what he can do on the wing. Because I mean, Nine Camp was even open about it. Like he said, you know, we're looking to improve at the winger spot, even if that means Loca. I mean, he was pretty open in that. I think he's trying to put public pressure on Locadia to perform. I don't think Locadia is in danger of leaving in this window at all. I mean, I think in 6 months, if he hasn't performed, he's going to go back. They're not going to pay him. But I think they do realize that, you know, maybe his best position in MLS is left wing. Like the fullbacks in this league are not the paciest in the world. I mean, I could argue Matarrita might be the fastest, and we haven't. I mean, you saw in the limited times he was going up against a right back, you saw what Locadia did as a left winger. Like immediate
he's
fear in
bigger
the
than
eye.
any left back. He's gonna body any left back.
Yeah, I mean, every single right back he went up against on the left wing, like the right back, like fear in their eyes, on their heels. He's running at them. That's the most fun it looked like Locadia had all year. No, Locadia is not the fastest guy in the world. You don't necessarily have to be fast to be a good winger. You got to have like functional pace, which is what Locadia has. Locadia is not a straight ahead runner, but the ball at his feet, he quickens up. He's also a really good passer. Like that's some of the best moments he had at PSV with Gaston was literally crosses across the box to Gaston, who was running in late and finishing. His through balls are really good. So I think them trying to find a 9 is them trying to find a way to get the best out of Locadia and Kubo to bring Vasquez, Joao off the bench as wingers, or Vasquez off the bench as a 9, and Barrial and Joao off the bench as wingers. I don't think Joao's the right back right now, unless they go 3-5-2. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they're exclusionary. I don't think that if they're bringing in a 9, they're absolutely going to get rid of Locadia. I don't think that's the case at all.
I've got a real quick. I've got a in for Mr. Jonathan Cohen.
What is it?
No one Deckel Kynan.
What about Deco Smash?
Does he know Deckel Smash?
He might.
That's a great question.
He might.
Very close knit group.
That's somebody write Deckel right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a close knit group, and I'm also thinking of Welshman, who's playing over in Israel right now.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, it might be a slight in, but those guys, I don't want to say those guys, but like they're typically very loyal and very trustworthy. Deckel's about as good as they come.
Oh, that guy's fabulous. Great
Nothing but
person.
respect for that dude.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Deckel says nice things. Granted, Deckel was there the last year in the USL, so he's seen some stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe.
You never know. Maybe not. Maybe we'll sign someone. Maybe we won't. I'll be one of those guys from now on, right? The safe guy. I heard we're talking to somebody, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of safe guys.
Yeah, I just make stuff up, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Sons of bitches.
Don't have an opinion. Please don't have an opinion. Okay.
Yeah, don't
Who's
be
this guy?
opinionated. This is Mr. Papu Gomez. Okay. So I know some people asked me earlier, like, is there a time limit on the offer? No, there's not a time limit. You will wait for Papu Gomez. If Papu says I'm coming, you sell your wife and your kids to make it happen. Maybe not. Okay, I would. Love you guys. So yeah, this is still a thing. I don't know that they're actively like talking to him, but his options are dwindling and they're dwindling fast. Atalanta has essentially said, we are not selling you within inside Serie A. We're just not going to do it. We don't want to play against you. We don't want to have to go up against you in competition for UEFA Champions League. We don't have to play you in Champions League, so we don't want to sell you inside Europe. The problem is Papu prefers to play in European competitions. That's kind of what he wants to do. I know the club that Ozil just signed with, I'm not going to pretend to pronounce them.
Turkish. Fenerbahce?
Yeah. I don't see the fit there. I know they were rumored to be interested, unless you play dueling 10s, because Papu's not really the 9 that you need him to be, and you're not putting him at winger because Di Maria is their winger. So you're not going to piss off one player to get another. Saudi clubs have backed off. He doesn't want to play there. This is one of those things, and I think Steven said it earlier on our group chat. This smells of like January 31st European buy. If you were asking me for a percentage now, 10%, I think it's gone up. I mean, I think we theorized last week that the longer this goes, the less chance we had, right? But I think it's been the opposite. The longer it's gone, the more our chances have gone up because clubs have been public and saying like we can't afford him or we just don't want him. I don't see him at Juventus. There's no way Atalanta is going to sell him to Juventus. Juventus was public in saying we don't want him like a week and a half ago. And now they say they want him. Like that's got to piss a player off. He's probably got other options. Again, I'm not saying he's coming to FC Cincinnati. I don't think he is. but I still think the offer's on the table. And his options are, like I said, and I'll keep saying, his options are dwindling quickly. There's no shot at him being in Atalanta going forward. They played really well without him. They've played really well with him, which just shows the manager, like, we can do it. He's already come out publicly and said, like, if Papu stays here, he's not playing. So, and playing is important to Papu. Like, that guy loves to play the game. I know he prefers to stay in European competitions, but so does every big European player. That's what I try to also explain to people, for those that maybe are in this chat that are newer to soccer, newer to transfer windows. Whose name is hung like a horse? I just came across that. It was staggering. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. I scrolled over. Good God. Oh, for those that aren't familiar with transfer windows and transfer rumors, I have a couple people that ask me, like, why don't they just overpay for him and he just comes here for the money? It is not about the money of those guys. Those guys get better sponsorship deals over there, so that makes up for it. And depending on where you live, it could be cheaper to live in the U.S. But the one thing that Europe, well, two things. The two things that Europe have, Europa League and Champions League. And the big clubs, those guys want to play for the big clubs and play in Champions League. And if they can't get there, they want to play in Europa League. Europe also has the history. They have the club history. They have the big giant stadiums. They have the ambiance, the environment. Which, I mean, the fact that we got Lacadia here is kind of a big deal. Like, I know he played bad last year. But I mean, when I told Nate, before I released it on Twitter, and I told Nate who it was, we kind of both took a step back. Like, we're about to sign Jurgen fucking Lacadia? Like, that doesn't happen. This would be, again, league changing, club changing. I don't think it's going to happen. Obviously, this guy here is worth 10 wins. I mean,
and that's a great question, because I think, I don't know if Aaron's still on, but he asked that on, he DM'd earlier. What does a good 10, or what does a Papu bring from a number of wins? So you just said it, 10, right? So he brings, playoff potential, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's 100% like worth 8 to 10 wins immediately. Not only because he's that good, like individually he can score goals, but like that guy's passing is ridiculous. No one in MLS can pass like Papu Gomez. Zella Ryan is like a poor man's Papu Gomez. And then let me get to some of these questions. We'll fire off these questions. And what is the buy clause trigger for Lacadia? It is minutes and games played. He's getting close, which is why they're putting public pressure on him. No, Papu is not going to enter on a loan deal. There's no way that Atalanta is going to accept a loan deal when they have money on the table. The money for Martinez we talked about. Let's do this one. Let all of us do this one. What would your drop dead date be on him, so we don't get another Gaston situation when we take our offer off? And are there other 10s we are pursuing? Maybe that would motivate him. Can we sign a 20 then? 2 10s. I'd give it. This is a little bit different than Gaston. Papu will need to be convinced further to be here. I do think that he honestly 100% prefers to stay in Europe. I also do believe that FC Cincinnati, and I pretty much know this, has doubled any other salary offer. The money's not the problem. It's trying to convince the player to be here. I don't think the agent is that big of a deterrent this time. My drop dead date on him, Monday. Like you've got to have, and I hate to say that because you just don't do that to these kind of guys, but you've got to have if this is still in conversations. Now, obviously we're basing this off the offer is still good because it's always going to be good for Papu until the end of the window or until he signs somewhere else. That offer is always on the table until they sign a better 10 or another 10. I would just make a phone call to him and his agent. Look, we would love to have you here. This is our final offer. We're willing to give you $8 million salary. Atalanta's already said they'll take the $15 million transfer fee, but we've got to know by Monday, because if we don't know by Monday, we've got to move on, man. And nothing personal. We just got to move on. That's how that conversation has to go. So for me, it's Monday. If we had other guys signed, if we had a right center back, if we had another center back, we had a right back, if we had a 9 or a left wing, and we were just waiting on the 10, I'd give it another week and a half. I'd give it to maybe 5 days before the window closes. But with the current state we're in, needing so much, Monday. Steven?
Yeah, I'm probably a little bit longer than you. And back to the question, I do hope they've got 10 lines in the water. I've kind of shared that before, I think on Twitter or somewhere else, but I really hope Gerard has got 10 lines right now, 10 lines looking for the 10. So I do, you said it, I shared it earlier. I do think this is the last minute European deal that'll happen for Papu. I'm probably a little bit longer next week than you are. I'm probably looking, I'd say in the 22nd, 23rd time period, a week, 8 days before the window closes. And, but you gotta make it a hard window, whether it's Monday, right, the 18th, or whether it's say Thursday, the 21st. It's got to be a hard date. You stop talking. You don't answer the calls. You make them sweat for a couple of days, and that's why you don't let it go too far out in January. One is because he knows we're on the line. We've got to kind of either get him on the bait or put down the fishing pole there and not listen to the chatter coming back from his agent or anybody else. And then that gives some time, 10 days to 14 days for Gerard to hopefully pull up one of those other lines that he's got in the water.
Yep. And Nate, before you go, I did want to say, like, I'm not making this shit up. Like, Fabrizio Romano, for those who don't know, has a Here We Go podcast that it's exclusively on Patreon. I do subscribe. He said last night that MLS is still an option. And we all know the one club that's been linked to him, right? Like Vancouver randomly linked. And then it was like, that's not a thing. So yeah, FC Cincinnati is still there. Nate, go ahead.
I mean, realistically, why not? You don't cross it off your list. The biggest thing, and this is everybody said it, you don't want to put all your eggs in that basket. And I mean, I'll say it out loud. Nijkamp swings for the fences. He absolutely does. Lacadia was a swing for the fences and hit a home. Yeah, he absolutely does. But he's not swinging for the fences like Barry Bonds on steroids. He's swinging for the fences. Oh, I'm gonna go old school like Brady Anderson in 1 year.
Oriole, Brady Anderson, nice Oriole.
Yeah. So that's fine if you hit the home run, but sometimes it's better to hit consistent doubles or triples, like i.e. Pete Rose. We'll keep it close, or a Wade Boggs or Paul Molitor, and that's my fear is that Nijkamp stays on this Papu stuff and he misses on somebody else. But he's a professional. He knows what he's doing. His kid's a good guy, so I trust in the fact that he'll figure it out. But I mean, the other side of it is do you realistically want to spend that kind of money? So you're talking a $15 million transfer fee, another 7 to 8 years. So let's just say $22 million, and this 2021 committed to him, and then $7 million for the next 2 after that. So you're talking, what was that, 36 million committed over 3 years? Like, it's a fair chunk of change. There's some options there. There's some options there that Travis could figure out right now in his basement. If he had 36 million to play with over 3 years, that would be arguably better decisions.
He'd be on DoorDash every hour. He would be DoorDashing everything.
He's on a diet.
Wait a minute.
He's on a diet. Keto friendly.
Everyone that knows me knows how much I can eat. And my body, like, I'm so lucky. My body maxes out at like 205. Like, I'm a chubby guy, but the way I eat, I could weigh 450. But my body, like, 205.
You're still only 31 as well. So
yeah,
come on.
That's true. It's going to catch up to me.
Yeah.
It'll catch up to me, but I love ice cream. No matter how full I am, dessert is always there.
The thing is like, we did this last year. Like when you text me, the story actually goes, I was actually at work in Detroit, and I threw the name at Travis, and Travis was like, "Yeah, that's the guy." And I'm like, "No, there's no fucking way we're signing Jurgen Locadia." But sadly enough, right now, that's the peak of my Jurgen Locadia fame. Was the moment like that name was mentioned with this club. I don't need us to sign the name that everybody recognizes. I need us to sign the name that gets the job done. That's it. Like I don't need you. I don't need the Messi. I need the Emil Smith Rowe
Ooh,
that
good
that
name.
that fucks shit up. That's what I need.
Yep. So let's finish off here really quick.
Is Lincoln dead?
No, he's
Lincoln?
alive. He's
Tom's
young.
no, the deal. Bogart said it's done.
Yeah, it's
You
dead. And like I said yesterday, like again, just I got toasted on Reddit for this. He's probably just making it up. Yeah, he didn't want to be here. Like
You
you can't
should
force
use that
him.
voice more often.
I'm absolutely going to. The people that hate me and like all they do is talk shit about me, but then get mad when I clap back at them. I'm gonna start using that voice 100%.
you're such a lightning rod, Travis. It's just
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I'm such a likable guy, right? Like I don't
You
care.
are. You actually are.
I'm a good guy. I just
don't know
don't.
what people. I don't care.
Some people don't like me. Here's the difference. Some people don't like me because they. Man, I'm gonna feel like an asshole saying this.
Well, you're just you. You're you. Okay.
Exactly.
You.
Like I've told people in the past, like think about the best thing in your life that you're good at. I am 10 times better at being an asshole than you are at doing what you think you're the best at. So yeah, I mean, when people are assholes, like I tend to clap back and I'm really good at it. I take pride in it. So yeah, that's why some people don't like me. It's fine. I don't need any more friends. Like I don't want to like everybody anyway. It's not a fun life. Yeah, that is absolutely the West Side me. Here's the one great thing about me. If I don't like you, you will absolutely know it. I am not scared to tell anybody to their face that I don't like you.
Go rain.
That's right. And if you got something to say, we can always, fight. All right. So would it rank as the largest transfer salary in MLS ever? Yes, it would. Yes, I am perfect age for MLS. We actually do need Messi. I did sign Messi for Watford in my my FIFA 21 after I got them promoted and won the treble, Carabao Cup and FA Cup. So I went ahead and
What a
got
difficulty up there, world class.
legendary. You can ask Nick. Funny story. Nick has been running his mouth on Twitter DMs like, when are we going to play FIFA? Yeah, I think he rage quit on me because I was up 1-0 in the 60th minute, and I've never had FIFA freeze on me, and it froze and kicked us. I was putting on a possession clinic, and I am rusty.
But then he tried to say that he should have been winning 3-1.
That was me. I should have been.
Okay,
That's what I said.
Okay.
I messed around. I sent a through. He was Liverpool and I was Barcelona, and I sent a through ball to Messi, and I was wide open net, and I was just trying to be cheeky and like dribble around the goalkeeper for a minute and kind of be an ass, and it ended up costing me a goal. And then I tried to chip the keeper with Dembele when I shouldn't have. But anyway, yeah. And Brian, I did say I feel like it's growing to a 10% chance. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we see Papu Gomez here. I think we do get a DP10. I just like talk to me in a week if nothing else comes up. And I do want to address this before we finish up, and I'll let the guys finish up as well. And I know I posted this on Twitter, but maybe not everybody saw it. I have not posted a lot of targets and a lot of transfer information because there just isn't any. Like MLS is always hard to get transfer information on. Night Camp was new to the league last year. I was able to get a lot of leaks from him to other people within the front office and other people within the club. So it was a lot easier. This time around, it's not hard to get the leaks. It's hard to verify them, right? It's hard to reach out to others and verify them. He is doing his job properly. Whoever he's talking to, he's not really releasing. I'm having to go through a lot of back channels to get this stuff. I also, like, when I hear a target, I do go out and I verify that it's being discussed with the other clubs insiders, with agents, with all that stuff. So if I don't think there's a target that's worth talking about because I don't think it's realistic, I don't post it. If I did that every time, oh my God, we're not going to get Diego Costa. That's a name that I was told like last week. There's no interest there. It's not happening. And then Nate and Steven, you guys want to wrap up with any final thoughts?
Nate, I'll let you go because I know you got some big Z.
Yeah, the wife's making ziti, so
Yeah.
excuse the video, but the lack thereof. The biggest thing is my. This is going to kind of contradict everything we've done tonight, but we got to have patience a little bit. And when I say that, it's not patience. It's a few weeks. Let's wait till the end of the month, see what happens. February 1st, shit ain't done. Get the pitchforks out.
Sharpening as we speak.
Yeah, put the gas on the fire. But ultimately, it's not because of what we did last year, who we signed last year. It's because that's the nature of it. And this whole 2020, 2021 aspect is just vastly different than anything we've ever dealt with. The one thing I'll say, and this is an appreciation to the club, is while everybody else, for the most part, is kind of pumping their brakes, we're at least talking the talk in terms of spending money. But might be pretty cool if we actually walk the walk for once. Be a nice change of pace. So I literally made a career move change with being able to attend games comfortably in mind. That is actually a thing. I literally switched jobs, and one of the 10 things that was contingent on that was being able to have weekends off or weeknights off to attend games. So you know where my heart lies. That's all I got.
Fantastic. Well, enjoy the ZD, Nate. Thanks for being with us. A couple of things real quick is, Super Draft is next Thursday. Yeah, you'll see some posts out there. Ives just responded that he does think Ethan Bartlett is going to sign a generation Adidas contract. So way to go, Ives. Thanks for responding to a stream of ours. And if he does sign a GA contract, I'm in for Bartlett. If he doesn't, then I think we'll have to go and see what Austin does or trade the pick. Last thing, yeah, Harris. I agree. Harris is probably the play. I had my ticketing seat selection on Monday. I could probably just do a whole hour rant about the ticketing process this year and how people have jumped the line, and how even when I was getting ready for my Zoom call, I was asked, well, are there any other families that are joining you for the Zoom call? I was kind of like, huh? And then I get on, they're like, well, are you the only one on, or don't you want other people to join you to get their tickets? It's happening, people. I don't know if you've had your opportunity to have it, but good luck to you. It's kind of stinks. You can max out at 6 tickets per person, but they are allowing other people. They're allowing you to bring in other families to talk about their ticket needs as well. I'll be honest. I probably got out of a top 10 selection in my 7th or 8th desire. Not anywhere near my top 5. Probably my 7th or 8th desire. I'll be happy to be in the stadium. They couldn't answer a lot of questions. They aren't looking to start in March. May at the earliest is what it sounds like. Not a lot of detail from parking or concessions. Not a lot of detail of, okay, what happens when all those people that got club seats jump ship next year because their funds don't transfer over. A lot of questions that went unanswered. Looking forward to the new stadium. I'll just end with that.
Yeah, my ticket selection is on the 25th, and to be honest, guys, I really haven't even decided if I'm going to get them. They've got to do something between now and then. A shiny new stadium is not enough for me to watch an embarrassment for the 3rd straight year. Just kind of is what it is. I don't want to end this on a somber note. I will answer one more question from PJ. Any French League DP10s worth going after for cheapish? Hatim Ben Arfa.
Ooh, Ben Arfa.
Yep. He's played really well. He's 33 years old. His contract's up in June.
That dude's got moxie. That dude is.
You talk about a little bit of firecracker.
Oh, big firecracker.
Yep, little guy, big firecracker. Yeah, that'd be a good shout. I mean, he just got there. I mean,
It's brilliant. Did you see that one?
Yeah. God, I don't like that guy.
When are you going to get that job, by the way? You applied for that job, didn't you?
I applied for the capologist job. They're not going to give it to me.
Did they respond? Did they at least tell? Okay.
No. Nope. Although it's funny, like you think they'd want to hire me to get me on an NDA, right?
Yeah, exactly. You put you in right outside of Birding's office, like he'd be right in the ante room outside of his office.
Well, I just make stuff up anyway, so no big sweat off their back.
First Selena, that's an interesting one, Aaron.
Yeah, that's it's definitely an interesting one. A little bit expensive, right? Yeah, I mean we can always just we'll get Mbappe and play him at the 10, right? Maybe Julian Drexler. But all right, guys. Thank you everybody for joining us. We will put this up on YouTube in the coming days. Neymar confirmed, Messi confirmed, OR confirmed, Mbappe confirmed. So everybody take care of each other. Go get the freaking vaccine if it's offered to you. Prost, Adam. Prost, everyone.
Thanks for your support, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, this is awesome. Like we had 28 people in here. Like we had like 8 last time. Like it does mean a lot. Like 100% means a lot. So thank you everybody. Have a good night. Cheers. Prost. Steven, take it easy, buddy. We will talk at you guys later.
You too, buddy. Prost, everyone.
Prost.